Good day, my students. How are you? Are you observing the guidelines of the health? You have to stay safe. And I hope you have done the last assignment. You are still having Mrs. Omotosho on the line. Today we continue with our literature in English. So we have 2 poems remaining. So we are taking the 2 poems today. The first one is Some African Democrats. Then A New Africa by the same poet, CHIGBO. So let's look at the objectives of this lesson. By the end of the lesson, students should be able to 1. Recite the poems. 2. Give the content analysis of the poems. Then 3. You should be able to give at least 2 themes in each of the poems. Then number 4, you should be able to identify the figures of speech and the poetic devices used in the poems. Then the first poem, Some African Democrats. Let's look at the background of the poem. The poet portrays the high level of corruption, atrocities, and fraudulent activities that characterized African democratic government, using Nigeria as a case study. Then, under the pretense of democratic government, the leaders unleash hardship and pain on the masses. They do not fulfill their campaign promises. Rather, they make life unbearable for the electorates that voted them in. And that's what happens in the society. All the campaign promises, they don't go by it. They deceive the masses. So in conclusion, the poet admonishes the leaders to give to the masses their due. That is, the poet admonishes the leaders to give masses their due, what's their rights, instead of inflicting pains on them. Then the poem itself, let me read the poem. Some African Democrats, written by CHIGBO. Standing on a sham democracy, the quack elections they never won. They issue illegal orders, having only one thing in mind: to build themselves selfish empires. They know no peace. They are as good as thieves, pinching the national cake. They reap where they did not sow, as they eat the poor man's portion. May their conscience prick them from within, just like barbed arrows to their souls. But will they tell themselves the truth? They will quell their troubled hearts until they tell themselves the gospel truth and give to the poor back their due. May they never know any peace if they could give such joy as they give pain. God could bless and set their conscience free. You can see that the poem is a poem of 1 stanza. The poet tries to explain, to tell those our leaders, the politicians, to look at them, check themselves, all their campaign promises, all the promises they have made to people, they are not fulfilling them. If they cannot fulfill them, that means their end, it will not end well with them. That's what the poet is trying to tell our leaders. So when you look at the background, it has explained what the poem is all about. It's about the corruption in our society. So the poet is now trying to preach to those leaders to have a change of mind and give what belongs to the masses to them. Then the themes of the poem. I have 3 themes here. Number 1, undemocratic democrats. That is, all these democracy that they are preaching, they themselves, those leaders, they are not practicing it. they are saying they are Democrats, but they are not Democrats. Then number 2 teams, the fraudulent Democrats. They are fraudulent because they don't fulfill their promises. They deceive people. Then 3, Africa's failed democracy. That's we try to make democracy work out, but the leaders are not working according to the democracy they preached. So that's why democracy has failed in Africa, according to the poets. Then the structure, as I said before, it is a poem of 1 stanza with 19 lines. It is written in run-on lines. That is, it is written just like a story. One line leads to the other, to the end of the poem. Then the language, as you can see, when you read through, you understand the poem. So the language is simple. Simple language is used. Then the mood of the poet. The mood is heartbreaking because all the things said about African leaders, they are heartbreaking, sad. Then the tone of the poem, it is that of angry and bitter. The poet was very bitter. That was why he was lamenting on the atrocities going on among our leaders. Then let's look at the literary devices. The literary devices, we have metaphor being used in line 1, sham democracy. Line 2, when you go back to the poem, you check line 2, you see quack elections. Quack elections is an example of metaphor because quack, we all know that it is used in medical line. When they say we have quack doctors, so that their quack election is fake election. They just put themselves there. Then line 5, selfish empire, is a metaphor too, being used by the poet. And line 8, you can see national cake. National cake is equally a metaphor. Then simile is used in the poem too. When you look at simile, line 7 of the poem, they are as good as thieves. Line 12, just like barbed arrows into their souls. So that's the end of the first poem, Some African Democrats. You have assignments on the poem, with 5 assignments. Number 1, list 2 themes in the poem. You have to list at least 2 themes. You can have different themes, but it has to be related to what you have in the poem. Then number 2 assignment question. What is the tone of the poem? 3. Who is the poet of the poem, Some African Democrats? Then 4. In the poem, Some African Democrats, the poet describes the African Democrats as dash. You have options: A, faithful; B, selfish; then C, heartless. Then number 5. In the poem, Some African Democrats, African leaders seek public office out of dash. So you supply the answers. So as I've said before, we have 2 poems to treat here. The second poem now, written by the same poet, that's the same CHIGBO, UGWOUKE. So A New Africa, background analysis of the poem A New Africa. It is a poem of hope, where the poet foresees a new Africa that is devoid of corruption, bad leadership, terrorism, and other evils that characterized African continent. Then the poet concluded that the continent can overcome all her shortcomings. Then let's look at the poem proper, A New Africa. My eyes opened. I saw a new Africa, no longer corrupt. I saw a new generation of African youths, cunning hack like swans from their land of exile, prepared like brides for their grooms, waiting to be handed in. A loud feminine voice, the voice of Mother Earth, jingling down like some golden coins. flowing down from the high heavens sounded, I am Mama Africa. At last, I have made all things new. Light has come to stay. The children of darkness have fled to sin no more. There will be no more terror, or mourning, or crying, or pain, or poverty, and penury. I saw a new Africa. There was no longer any corruption. I saw a new Africa. So the poet is now trying to tell us that he has seen a new Africa that is free of all this corruption. That the new Africa has a bright future. That is what the poet is trying to tell us, that the Africa that is no more, the masses are no more in pain. They are now enjoying. Everything is going on smoothly. That's the new Africa the poet dreams about. Then the themes of the poem: a dream for a better Africa. When you read the poem again, you see that it was a dream that the poet had for the new Africa, a better Africa. The poet is optimistic about Africa, that things will become better in future. Then the second theme: Africa can be great again. That's, we cannot lose hope. Africa can become great again. So the structure: it is a poem of one stanza with 12 lines. Then the language: it is equally written in simple language. It is a poem that when you read, you understand it, even without being explained to. Then the mood is that of excitement and optimism. When you read through, you see that the poet was happy, having such dream of hope for Africa. Then the tone: optimistic and confident. The poet was confident that yes, Africa will become great again. Then the literary devices: the poet uses many similes in the poem. When you go back to the poem, you see in lines 5, 6, and 8, we have similes there, where as is being used to compare. Then number 2, symbolism. Line 10, light. Light symbolizes good. According to the poet, light means good. Then darkness symbolizes evil. Line 5, swans is in line 5, which symbolizes beauty and love. Then there is use of onomatopoeia in the poem. That's another figure of speech being used in the poem. This is a literary device used to imitate the sound made by the thing or object being mentioned. So in line 8, we have onomatopoeia jingling down like some golden coin. Jingling has the sound of a coin, so it is onomatopoeia. That's the sound of coin. Then the use of repetition, another literary device. Repetition: a new Africa is being repeated 3 times in the poem to lay emphasis. Then number 5, dramatic dialogue. The poet engages in an imaginary conversation with Mother Africa. Then personification is used. That's giving human attributes to non-human. So Africa is being given human quality or attributes in the poem. So we have come to the end of the poems, the recommended poems for junior secondary school. So assignments on a new Africa. Number 1, the dominant figure of speech used in the poem is dash. Is it irony, repetition, onomatopoeia? So you choose your answer. Number 2, the message of the poem, A New Africa, is dash. Is it hope, success, or freedom? Then number 3, jingling down like golden coins, is an example of dash. alliteration, metaphor, or simile. You choose the correct answer. Number 4. The poem A New Africa ends on dash note. Is it optimistic, sad, nostalgic? Then 5. The mood of the poem is dash pessimistic, excitement, or freedom. You write the correct answer. Please stay safe, and very soon you'll be called back to school to come and prepare for your exam. I wish you all the best, and when you are through with your assignment, you still submit through the school email address. Have a good day and stay safe.